Seymour Melman tells the story of the New York City Transit Authority effort to spend between $3 and $4 billion on subway cars. City government put out a request for bids, and not a single American company responded. The industrial in this base, well, I just said, we no longer manufacture what's needed to maintain, improve, or build our infrastructure. Instead, the city contracted with companies in Japan and Canada to build its subway cars. Melman estimated that such a contract could have generated directly and indirectly about 32,000 jobs in the United States. Let me tell you one other story. There's a shipyard in a town in Denmark that went broke in 1999. Vestas Wind Systems, a private company, moved in and converted the facility to make windmills. In April of 2001, Business Week Online reported that the company had doubled its initial workforce and that all the shipyard workers had become employed making windmills. Vestas leads a cluster of companies that have made Denmark, with a population of 4 million people, the world's top producer and exporter of windmills. That story is near and dear to my heart. We live in Bath, Maine. Bath makes naval destroyers. Both Democrat and Republican representatives in our state hold hands in unison, sing the song of 20 more years of naval destroyers in our country, in our state, in our town. What we keep saying to them is, help us understand this. 20 more years of naval destroyers when there's no naval competitor in the world? What is the plan? If our naval destroyers are used to take Iraq's oil today, whose oil are we planning for tomorrow? And whose water are we going after in 10 years? We drove through Kansas. We passed by a wind farm. It was a beautiful sight to see. Where were the Kansas windmills made? Is American industry gearing up for the future? Can we increase the research, development, and production of safe, sustaining energy systems that harness the power of the sun, the wind, and the tides? We said to ourselves as we're driving through the country, if we hadn't invaded Iraq, if we had a different set of priorities, if we weren't dependent on war making, we could have been building an infrastructure to put windmills in every community in Kansas, solar panels on every home in Nebraska. Imagine the jobs, imagine the excitement, and the possibility. I have to tell, thank you. In closing, I have to tell a personal story. I'm a social worker, right? I have a friend who's a Navy veteran. She served on an Aegis cruiser made in our hometown of Bath, Maine. It was her job to keep the Aegis cruiser in position so that it could launch the first Tomahawk missiles into Iraq for the shock and awe bombing on March 19th of 2003. Hours later, she left the deck of the ship and went below to see images of Baghdad burning on CNN. Images that are burned into the head and heart and soul of this sweet, gentle woman. We have damaged this young woman's life. She's a civil engineer. The military paid for her education. She's a woman who wants to build bridges and roads, but she is haunted now for the rest of her life by the full capacity of destruction she helped unleash on a populated city. We failed this woman and this generation of young people who are looking for meaningful, satisfying, life-sustaining jobs. Last week, we had a visit from a friend who lives in New Orleans. She had what to me was a heartening fact to share. Since Katrina, a number of high schools have organized to send student work crews down to do some of the physical labor of rebuilding New Orleans. This year, applicants to colleges in the area grew at a rate never before seen. I was heartened to hear this because it confirmed my profound belief that what we want to do in this country is to build. The young people understand. We want to care for each other. We want to build, not destroy. We want our neighbors to be safe. We were appalled by the images of how our neighbors in New Orleans were left behind. Our young people want to make it right. They found meaning in caring for their neighbors. They want to recreate that feeling by being there. We have to work to create a vision, a different economy, a caring economy. We can change. We need a funding source to do the conversion that's necessary in our society to properly create the sustainable technologies needed to deal with the effects of climate change. The funding source is there. It is in the military-industrial complex. The peace communities need to collaborate with environmental activists, with union organizers, with church communities to demand a conversion process that creates meaningful jobs that are about building a collective future. I used to wonder, if I had lived during the time when Andrew Jackson was forcing the Cherokee off their lands through the Trail of Tears, what would I have done? If I had been a German during Hitler's reign, where would I have put my body? Would I have taken action? What would that action have looked like? My friends, we are living in dark and difficult times. This is our Trail of Tears. This is our Nazi Germany. Our country, our people are enslaved to an economy that depends on endless war. Now is the time for courage. Now is the time to act. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Beth Sullivan.